can you understand my words? If yes, we will continue. If no, we will stop.
It's fine, I guess.
It's fine. Thank you. I hope it will be fine.
Good luck.
So, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being patient. As I have said, patience is a virtue. So, our lecture is about the flex boxes. And the first things first, what's the flex boxes? Here we should say that in the beginning of our lessons, we talked about some kind of display features, and there was the inline block elements, and there was also flexbox elements. As I have shown you in the first and the yesterday's lesson, in order to place the elements horizontally on the our page, we can use flexboxes. So here we can see what kind of use cases we can use the flexboxes. So in order to scale and the vertical alignment, horizontal alignment, in ordering, flexboxes can be very helpful, and then you can easily place your elements anywhere you want. Even you are working with a extra small or extra large displays. So firstly, when you create the flexbox container, its children will become horizontally. They will become next to each other horizontally, and here you can see the first example here, and it can become horizontal next to each other in the end of the container. Also, here's the empty space. There was an empty space at the end. So also they can be placed evenly, and there will be empty space also evenly between them. So here's another example without any kind of places, and second boxes will stretch and fill the empty space. So it's another layout, and it also can be vertical. The best thing about the flex boxes is that it's very easy to make our web page responsive with the help of flex boxes. So if we start with an experimenting on our Visual Studio Code, so we will continue from the place we were left on. Just a second. I have opened that. Yes, no. There was another thing. HTML and CSS. So we can open it with live server, and we can continue. So let's create the flex container. Some flex container, and let it have the three children box elements. Box element 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we will create this special set of styles in order to flex container and the boxes. Flex box 1 for box 2, box 3, and so on. Let them have the height of, for example, 300 pixels, and background color red. So nothing has everything that we want happened. There is 3 elements here now. 1, 2, 3. There should be, and also we can add the some headers in order to see the elements order. H1 first, H1 second, and H1 third. So here is all the not the flex boxes, but the ordinary boxes. With the help of the flex container, we can place them next to each other. So how we can do that? There is a wrapper that includes all the 3 elements called the flex container. To flex container, we can give the spatial style here. So display flex. As you can see, all of the elements will became its content size and became next to each other. If we give the width, it will be more understandable. For example, 300 pixels. Here you can see that all of the elements come to next to each other. It's the first, second, and the third elements. So in order to place this, as I have mentioned, the first thing that you should do, that you should give the display property a value flex, display flex, and it will become one to next to each other. So here we can see that if it's a flex container or ordinary position of the elements will be like this, and then by using flex boxes we can make them place horizontally next to each other, and we can continue like this. So how it can be done? For example, we have already placed our boxes at the beginning of the flexbox container. 1, 2, 3. We can place them evenly on our container. So first things that we should mention here is the what's the width of the flex container, and we can distribute them evenly on their place. The next thing is the justify content element. Justify content element can, with the help of the space between value for justify content, it can be placed evenly on our flex container. And as you can see, first element at the beginning, second element at the center, and the third element at the end. If we create one more box here with 4, you can see that everything is fine. Nothing has almost changed. It's evenly distributed all around our flex container. So it was the first value for flex's property justify content, and the next one will be here the space around. What does it mean? As you can see, justify content space between. So it's now it's a space around. As you can see, the difference between the space around and the space between, that the elements are not distributing by a whole flex container. It's there is a space, some space at the beginning, and there is a space at the end of our container. And also the next value here will be justify content center. All of the elements all of the elements are, how to say, became at the center of our page. So here you can see that there is a lot of space on the left and there is a lot of space on the right. So it was the first next value, and the next thing that we should add here is the justify content flex start. Defaultly, all of the flex display flex elements will have this value justify content flex start, because as you can see that even if we delete the flex start, nothing has happened. But we can add another value here. Next one will be the justify content flex end. So it is distributed at the end of our flex container. I think it will be helpful to place the elements on the end of our container. So in many how to say interviews, in many interviews there will be some question like that, how we can place the element on at the center of our page, how to say, horizontally and vertically. So here's the solution for that. For example, if we give the flex container the height 100 viewport height, 100% viewport height, display flex, justify content space between, and we will change that into the center, and the next thing that we should add here is the align item center. As you are seeing that there is the element on the center of our page, both horizontally and vertically. So as you can see that the next thing that we should talk here is the align items property. I will add all the elements here now. Yes, and I will delete the height. Okay, justify content center will become flex start again, and the align items. I think the first one should be also box 4, and for each box we will give the different kind of height. Box 1 will have height 50 pixels. Box 2, box 3, box 4, box 2 100, 200 and 150. So as you can see, all of our elements have different height and they are placed on they can be sticked to the, how to say, at the top of our flex container. So it's called the it's condition called align items flex start. As you can see, nothing has changed. If we delete and place the align items flex start, everything is as it was, and we can change its style by, just a second, one thing that I forgot, border 10 pixels, black solid. So I think it's better now. So 4 elements, align items. Here we can see the next thing, flex end. If we write flex end, all of the elements will come to the end of our flex container. It's our flex container, and it's now our elements. So it's another value. Next value will be the most useful one, is center. As you can see, all of them are placed at the center of each other. So 1, 2. Oh my god, I didn't have changed it. 4, 3, 4. It's more viewable now. Align items center. So also there is a value for stretch, but stretch will not work here now because we do not have the we do have the height of our elements. If we delete all of the heights for some time, align items, stretch, all of them will become in the same height, even if we do not write the height now. But we can give the height for these elements 300 pixels, if I'm not mistaken. And as you can see, height of the flex container stretched its children, and it works as we have expected. So we have talked about the display flex property, justify content property, and also align items property. So mainly our elements are placed on horizontally x-axis, and you can also, with the help of the flex boxes, place the elements vertically. How? With the next our here is the examples. I think flex container pro and here we should talk about the flex direction property. So what is that? What is that? If we add the flex direction here, our default value will be the row. As you can see, nothing has changed, everything is fine, but there is another value for it. If you want to change the order of your flexbox elements, you can write the value like row reverse. As you can see, as you can see, fourth element appears firstly, third element appears second, and so on. They have become in reverse order. I think in order to place them in the right order, we can write the flex end instead of flex start. So it was the second value for flex direction, and the next value will be here is the column. With the help of the column, you can see that all of the elements will are placed horizontally. Let's give the height of 300 pixels here again. Flex direction column 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, with the row and the column, there's a big difference. In the first example, in the row, they were on horizontal line. Now they are on vertical line. And also there's the reverse value for column also. It's called column reverse. So with the column reverse, here you can see that the fourth element appears firstly, and the third element appears secondly, and so on, as I have mentioned before with the row reverse example. So it can be very helpful for why? Because if you continue working with the mobile mobile elements here, mobile responsive elements, here we can use some kind of magic of flex direction. How? So let's make it a layout. Height, width, we have all the things now. We can distribute all of our elements space between here, and the next thing, when we squeeze our browser, it should become, how to say, vertical. how we can reach that? With the help of media queries, of course. Media, screen, and there was media, screen, and max width 800 pixels. So for flex container, we can give the value of flex direction column. So if I'm not mistaken here, when I squeeze, it will become, as you can see, on the vertical axis, and you can use another, how to say, this elements here also, and you can create your responsive element. 100%. We do not have these values, and we do not want these values. As you can see, all of the elements are placed very cool. When you stretch it to the full size, it's okay. And when you squeeze our browser to the smallest size, it's also okay. No problem. As I have, if you have watched my video about marking up the, how to say, Trafalgar design here, I will open it and show you the example of flex directions and our next value of the flex wrap. So flex direct, we have figured out what was the flex direction, and the next thing we should talk here is the flex wrap element. So if we open this here, one thing I should mention here is that as you can see, all of the elements are horizontally in the same line. So here's the logo, and here's the text, and here's the also this card elements, and then next all of the elements are at the same vertical line. The first thing that we should talk here before we can mark up this element is the container element. For default container element, in order to how to say, place all of the elements at the same vertical line, we can do some magic with the containers. We should create our default container for full HD displays. So here we should we will start with an with property. For default full HD displays, its width should be 100 to 1140 pixels, and we do not want to set the height. It will be after default value, and also we should have margin left after and the margin right after, and also the, how to say, padding 15 pixels. It means that from the top and the bottom there will be no padding, but from the left and the right side there will be 15 pixels of padding. And the box sizing also border box. So if we add this, if we wrap our elements to the container, it will work as we have expected. Now all of the elements are in the, how to say, on a container. So here you can see the result. The first things that also I should mention here is that at the first lesson I have said that there is some default styles of our browser. Also, as you can see, body have the margin, and we should how to say, delete this margin and set it to 0. Body margin 0, and we should also padding maybe 0, and so on. like this. And the next thing we should do here is create these elements. So in this lesson, you can see that how to use Figma with me also. So we can create, as you can see, it's written services, and for that reason, we can create the service box element, and this next one we should write here is the image, some kind of image. The next thing is H3 heading, if I'm not mistaken, H3. And the next one is some kind of text of P, paragraph. Not search a doctor, but to choose your doctor. So here you can see the result. I can, how to say, group and download the image. Loop, it's called the lupa in Russian, I think. So I can SVG vector graphics. I have imported this vector graphics, and I can add this to my HTML layout. So as you can see, here is the result, and we can create this kind of service boxes for 6 elements. Everything is fine. The next thing is we should do here is I will delete these boxes, this one also, and this one also. So we can give the padding for this element. As I have shown you in previous lesson, we can measure the padding with the help of the Figma rulers. There is a 37, there is the 46, there is the 54. So maybe we will give all elements the same padding. Service box padding 440 pixels. As you can see, everything has changed. And also we should give here a height and the width for our elements. Width will be 350 and the height 354. So there will be some problem. Now, as you can see, our elements do not have the same size as we have defined it. So what we should do here now, the first thing is the box sizing property. Because of that, we are using the padding. It calculates the padding from each side also. So now it will become as we wanted from the height side, but it's stretched to fit the flex container, all of the elements. None of them are 350 pixels. So here the flex wrap element property will help us in order to work properly with them. Flex wrap stands for what? There is the question. If our flex box elements do not fit the flex container, they will squeeze and they will stay on the on one line. If we use the flex wrap for our container, for example here, flex container here, flex wrap. If we give it defaultly, it's a no wrap value. As you can see, nothing has changed. But if you change this no wrap value to wrap, it will become the elements that do not fit to the flex container are placed on the next line of our flex container. First, we should check our elements, how to say, height and width. 350 to 354, all of them are the same. So now we can continue with our work. Flex wrap. Oh my god. No. I should write it here. And I should, how to say, align items, delete it. As you can see, everything is fine now. Nothing has changed. And we can create the border radius for our element. Border box shadow, there is a shadow and the border radius here also. Service boxes, box shadow. As you can see, here is the shadows and the border radius. And also what should be here, that in order to see the better results, background, we will change the background color of our body to the gray, for example. Oh my god. It's viewable now. Service boxes, background color of white. So as you can see, here's the box shadow, here's the border radius, and here's all of the elements that are displayed as we want it. If you change all of the images and all of the content, text content here, it will will become like this. Same as is in our design. And one thing that you should also add here is the margin bottom, and the margin bottom between the two elements is 34 pixels. So I think it's ready. With the help of the containers and the flex, you can create this all of the elements yourself without any kind of problem. I believe in you guys. So there will be no problem. It was all about the flex wrap. And the next thing that we should how to say here is the wrap reverse. If we change our flex containers flex wrap property to wrap reverse, let's make it viewable in order to see the result. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's make it 6. So everything is fine now. And the next one here is the flex wrap reverse. As you can see, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. The top line and the bottom line change its order, and the elements at the bottom come up to the first line, and the elements on the top come up to the second line. So, and the next thing we can add here is the major screen and make it responsive, and flex container we can add service box also for major query, and here it is. Let it be with 100 pixels. When you squeeze your browser, it will become 100%, but I think that here's the problem with the layout. I think, give me a second. So no,
sorry for interruption. You wrote I think 100%, not 100 pixels.
I want to do like this. Thank you for mentioning that. And it's okay. It's okay. As you can see, for example, we have the 1920 pixels in full HD display. It's like this. And if we change it to, for example, 800 pixels, it will become more like this, and it will fit to our, for example, tablet, iPad, and also the mobile phones display without any kind of problem. So I think you can make this design even responsive with the help of the flexboxes and the media queries. So we talked about the justify content and align items, align content here. How space is distributed between rows. So it also works like the align items. I will show. I will not show the example, but I will show the slides here now. So, as you are seeing that the align content defines how space is distributed between rows in flex container along the cross axis. So in stretch mode, as you can see, all of the elements are stretched on the vertical line. And in the next example, you can see that if we write the align content flex start, it will be stick it to the top of our flex container, and there will be some kind of space at the end of the cross axis. So it was all about the align content. And the next one here is the its value flex end. In this, it was the flex end, it was stick it to the top, but here, if you write the flex end, all of the elements are stick to the bottom of our flex container, and there is some space at the top. So if you write the align content space between, as you can see, it almost have the same values with the justify content, and you can write the space between here. If you write the space between here, all of the elements are placed evenly at the cross axis. There's some space between them, and they are distributed along the cross axis evenly. And also here's the value for align content center as the justify content, and you can see that there is the space at the top and at the bottom, and they are equal to each other. So the main things that I want you to use here firstly is the display flex itself and the justify content, align items, flex direction, and flex wrap. In some cases, you cannot understand how the align content works. Therefore, if you do not understand what does it mean, firstly, use the justify content, align items, and the display flex property itself, the main three of them, and then go with others. And because of that, you can understand it more, and you will know how problem. And in more, I am saying it from my own experience. The main are these three ones: display flex, justify content, and align items. In 18% cases, you can use only them. And the next thing, flex element properties. As I have mentioned, a wrapping element is called the flex container, and every child element here is the flex element. In our example, it's the service box elements. So we will continue with flex element properties here. So first one is align self. Allows you to override align items on an individual flex elements. So I think we can continue how to say with an example here. First thing, I think that's enough. As you are seeing that for flex container, we have written the align items flex start. All of the elements are stick to the top of our flex container, but but for individual flex element, we can write the align self property and change and overwrite this align items flex start property. If you write the flex end, it will stick to the bottom. If you write center, it will be here. And if you write the flex start, it will become this on the same line as the flex start elements. So as you are seeing, in the next example, all of the elements are flex end and stick to the bottom of our flex container, and the box 3 element has the align self property with the value stretch. Stretch, as I have mentioned before, stretches and fills all of the height of our flex container here. So it has overwritten the flex and value of align items property. And the next thing is the order. With the help of the order, you can change the order of flex boxes elements and at the flex container. For example, as you are seeing, you can give the order for individual value. If you have, for example, default value of 0, all of the elements are placed at the order that is written on the HTML page. But if you change and experiment with an order, for example, with box 1, if you give it a value 2, it will be at the end of our flex container. Yeah. As you are seeing, there is the magic here, and without, how to say, rewriting and changing your HTML elements place with the help of this flex elements order property, you can change it this order without any kind of problem. So all items, as I have said, that defaultly have order of 0, and if you write the order -1 negative value for box 3, it will be, how to say, at the beginning of our flex container. Also, here's another example: box 1, 2, 3, and 4. For box 1, it's order 2. For box 2, it's order 1. As you see, first element is placed at the second part, and this second box at the first place, as box 3 and the box 4 elements have the same order value, and they will be placed at the order that you have defined on your HTML element. So the next thing, so far all of our items are equally sized. As you have seen, it can be reached with, how to say, just by content space between property. And the next thing we should talk here. And if we have the layout like this, that some elements are placed left on the right, and the biggest one will be in center. With the help of the three shorthand properties of flex, you can reach that, and the main all of them are called the flex grow, flex shrink, and the flex basis. Flex grow is the main one. Flex shrink and basis, it's kind of complicated to understand at first glance, and later when you are working with making up the special styles on the Figma or any kind of design, you will if you use this flex elements properties, you will understand it more. But now we will mostly talk about the flex grow, but the less about the flex shrink and the flex basis here. So here you can read description itself that flex basis sort of like this, but not. So what does it mean? It how to say specifies the ideal size for our flex element as it's written, and you can play around it with it yourself and understand exactly what it means. So next one is here flex grow. Flex grow. What kind of element on our flex container will have the bigger width, and what kind of elements will have the smaller width? With the help of the flex grow element, you can how to say set this value, and for example, as I have shown you example here, that central element have the bigger bigger width than compared to the left and the right elements itself. So, and the next one is the flex shrink. It's the most complicated one to understand, and as you are saying that the description here is the flex shrink dictates how items should shrink when there isn't enough space in container. Shrink itself means that how they will squeeze and empty some kind of place for another element that want to become bigger. So next will be our example with flex grow here. To make all the boxes share even space, we can give the flex grow of 1, and they will become evenly distributed, and they will have the even width for each element. And but if we write for box to flex grow 2, it will take the two sizes of element. For example, if you place two box 1 elements, it will be at the same with box 2 element. So our box 2 element has grown, and we will become bigger than the first and the third example, and we can reach that with the help of the flex grow property. So also here you can see that the flex grow 80 and the 9 are the same with the flex grow 1 and 2, because if you how to say if you write the flex grow 9 for the first and the last elements, if you want to be second box to be twice as big as our first and last box elements, you should write the twice bigger value for than this one. As you are seeing that if you multiply 9 to 2, it will become 8, and it will be twice as big as the first and the third boxes here. So I think we have talked about all the elements. You can write, read all the notes about the flex properties later on in the slide. And I think in summary, here's also written, and I will, sum up all of the topics till now. Firstly, in order to use the display flex, in order to use the flex boxes, you should use the display property with a value flex. And then the first thing that we should mention here is the most important element, for our flex container is to justify content that distributes elements at the horizontal line. And the next one, when you want to elements with different heights become, at the center or at the top, at the bottom of our flex container, you can use the align items property for flex container. And the next one, in order to change the direction of our flex container, you can use the flex direction with the properties like row, column, and row reverse, and the column reverse. And the next one here, without the we cannot almost leave, is the order property. With the help of the order property, as I have mentioned, you can change the order of the order of HTML elements without changing the actual HTML elements order. Only in CSS, with the help of order, you can make and reach that. And other examples is the align self and the flex grow, flex shrink, and the flex basis that you will understand it later by yourself in the process of learning. There was only theory about them, but maybe in the future lessons, maybe I will make for you some kind of lesson in English for making up some kind of design on Figma later, and you can watch and understand what does it mean here. So the last thing is here is the layout examples. What kind of code do we have here? Header elements that they do not have any kind of flex styles, but the body have the display flex and the flex direction column, and the main also have the display flex property, flex direction row. All of them are placed on horizontal line, and also there is a flex wrap element. If you add, for example, some kind of force element to the main content, if it do not fit to the main, it will become under the main content. For example, here, and the footer will go to the bottom. So here's another examples. I think you can watch it later by yourself. And wow, the things that I have shown you, how to place the flex, how to place the element at the center of the page. The first method I have shown you yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, when we are talking about the positions with the help of the, for example, the display, not the display position, absolute, top, bottom, left, right, 0, and also margin set to the auto. You can place the element at the center of page. And the second method is here with the help of the flex display flex property and setting the justify content and align items properties to the value of center. You can place any kind of element at the center of our page. As I have mentioned in many interviews, for example, in EPAM also, when I was assigning and taking the project, not the taking, but the participating in project interview, they asked this question, that how we can place the element at the center of page. For example, when you want to, how to say, enter the EPAM, they can ask that for this reason you should, how to say it, remember the sidebar menu. I think there is no problem with that. So I can show you this example here. I think it will be useful for all of you guys. I can make that. Firstly, I will show what are they doing, and then I will write the actual code for you. And so they want to write some kind of sidebar menu, and here's the sidebar menu items like messages, friends, user profile, settings, and questions. So the first three elements should be on the top, and the other two should be at the bottom. So they added some padding, and what are they doing here? They have grouped the first three and the last two elements to another wrapper, and they have used the flexes property like flex direction column. And if you write the flex direction column and justify content space between, all of the elements will be distributed evenly on the vertical line. So here's the result, and we can, I think, write some code here. Here's that. I think we have ready examples here. In the main two, we will write, and how to say, write our examples here. So H1 elements, let's make the aside element. Aside element. We want to have the we want to make the first three elements at the top, and the last three also, not also, to be on bottom div. So nothing has changed, but we will change aside. For example, let's make it height for 100. Not 100. Yes, 100 viewport height, and the background color of gray. And we should reset the browser's default styles. Border, margin 0, padding 0. Of course, it do not have the padding, but I am used to write like this. Also, as you can see, there is some kind of space because H1 elements also have their paddings and margins that we should, how to say, reset. Margin 0, and the padding also the 0. And as you can see, everything is fine. For aside, we will also give the width of 300 pixels. Now everything is fine. The next thing we should add here is the padding. For example, 30 pixels, and the box sizing, border box. Everything is fine. Now, with the help of the magic of flex boxes, we can reach the result shown in the slide example. Display flex. If you write display flex, it will become like this, but we do not want to them place to one to next to each other, but we want to have they want to be placed vertically. So flex, we will write the flex direction column here. So everything is fine now. And the next thing that we should write here is the justify content space between property. So I think we have reached the result shown in our slide example. And here you are, everything is fine. And we have created some cool sidebar, for example. I think it's the end of our lesson. So if you guys have some kind of question, please ask me now or later on the group. So thank you for everybody for being patient, for I would say waiting me with a bad internet connection. So thank you guys. Do you have any kind of questions?
Thank you too.
I think it was better than the, how to say, in previous lessons. If you have any question, please ask. No questions,
not
right?
yet, maybe.
Okay, then see you guys in the, for example, how to say, next lessons. From the next lessons, you will have another instructor, but I will come back someday with another lesson. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
If you have questions,
Bye-bye.
write to me. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.